Il est... Je n'entends pas bien. S'il vous plaît. Alors, je continue. Oui. Okay. Continue. Il est également chercheur doctorant à l'Université de Louvain avec thème de thèse corruption. Il est également professeur d'université et directeur général de l'Observatoire de souveraineté. L'Observatoire de coordonnateur du comité. Il est également coordonnateur du premier forum national anticorruption, comité exécutif. Enfin, il est vulgarisateur du code de conduite de l'agent public de l'État. Nous avons ensuite l'honorable Paulus Palomo. Il est directeur général de la commission anticorruption de la Namibie depuis 2005. Son mandat a été renouvelé à 2 reprises. Son mandat a été renouvelé à 2 reprises. Il a été élu membre du Conseil consultatif de l'Union africaine sur la corruption. Sur la période 2009 à 2010. Également de 2017 à 2018. Alors, il a pris une part active aux consultations sur la création d'une association internationale des autorités anticorruption. Ça, c'était à Vienne en 2006. Alors, lors de la 5e conférence des États parties de la Convention des Nations Unies contre la corruption, en 2013 au Panama, il a été élu vice-président de la conférence représentant le continent africain. Pour l'année 2013 à 2015. Alors, ensuite, je voudrais présenter l'honorable Justice Kassim Zana, juge en chef à la haute cour de l'État de Borno au Nigeria. Il est membre du Conseil national de la magistrature de ce pays. Il siège au conseil d'administration de plusieurs organismes internationaux dans le domaine du droit et de la dans le domaine du droit et de la justice. On peut citer l'Institut international pour l'excellence et la justice à la pays. Il est, il est également vice-président de l'Institut de formation judiciaire du Commonwealth. Il est vice-président également de l'Organisation internationale pour la formation judiciaire. Il est également vice-président de l'Organisation internationale pour la formation judiciaire. Récemment, il a été nommé membre du Conseil consultatif du Réseau mondial d'intégrité judiciaire. Enfin, il intervient dans de nombreux forums en tant qu'orateur. Et il pilote des politiques en matière de technologie de l'information judiciaire. Cela pour une automatisation des procédures judiciaires au Nigeria. Alors, chers participants, après cette présentation, il faut dire qu'il y a un des panélistes qui n'a pu se présenter parce qu'il a été empêché. Il s'agit de Donald Bella, qui est le directeur général du PALU, l'Union panafricaine des avocats. Et je pense que le temps passant, nous allons commencer. Alors, je voudrais, donc, avant de commencer, dire les débats, chacun des participants, chacun des intervenants aura 15 à 17 minutes. Ils vont intervenir successivement. Et c'est à la fin que les questions, les interventions pourront être. Ceci étant, je voudrais donner la parole à l'honorable Zanak du Nigeria pour son intervention.
Thank you very much, able moderator. I hope I'll try to make myself clear. Although I have a few things to correct about the introduction, I'm not on the legislature. Is the council is the Judicial Council, not the Legislative Council. Maybe it was lost in translation. But since I've been advised that I have only 5 minutes, I think that the other issues are trivial, and let me just go straight to the point and give my take on our theme, that is fighting corruption through effective and efficient judicial systems. Now, I will say outrightly that corruption is essentially, or at least substantially, abuse of power. So fighting corruption means fighting abuse of power. Fighting abuse of power means fighting the powerful. For only the powerful possess power, and only the powerful can therefore abuse it. Now, for that fight to be undertaken by an institution or a person, that person or institution needs, obviously it's a no-brainer, to be powerful. Now, the nature of the power may change. It could be moral power, persuasive power, spiritual power, or even comical power, whatever, but you need power to fight power. But since we're now talking in the context of the judicial or justice system, and permit me, I'll continue to lapse into equating the justice system or the judicial system, do make the necessary corrections, but substantially, unless the judicial system. Hello? Is that official interruption? Okay, so be that as it may, I'm talking in the context of the justice system, but of particular concern is the judicial system, for that is the major component of the justice system, the courts. The fight as used or as fought by the courts, the fighting of corruption as done through the instrumentality of the courts, of the judicial system, as supported, obviously, by the other players in the justice system. Now, for the judicial system or the courts to be effective in the fight against corruption, as the theme rightly anticipates, and efficient, they have to be themselves inherently efficient and effective. Effective first, actually, before efficient. Now, then the question now boils down to how can, or whether the judicial system, and by extension also the justice system, is effective or efficient enough to take on the powerful, which is what fighting corruption entails. Now, with that as the background, all understand that undertaking an exercise whereby the fight against corruption through the justice system is to be assessed, evaluated, or encouraged, must needs address the question of whether these justice systems, particularly the judicial system, particularly the courts and the judiciary, are powerful enough, efficient enough to undertake this. And I have to say that it is not in the power, and then who empowers them if they are not powerful? Are we counting on the very powerful, to whose activity that these courts or the justice system is now expected to be a check, to empower them? That's not in the nature of power to weaken itself. The idea of such a self-restraint or self-inflicted restraint is at best very, very difficult to realize. So the empowering of the judiciary, the empowering of the judicial sector or justice system must come from, if already intrinsically, or if already not there, then must come from outside the powers that are to be checked. Now, I believe the justice system needs to ally itself with forces that are not within those forces to be fought or to be potentially fought. And it readily comes to mind that in that fight then to empower the justice system or the judicial system, the public, the society at large, the powerless, if you want, or the ones with the soft power, like the press, civil society groups, and particularly in this context, because they themselves will be fighting their own battles, external help too may be required. to first, where the judiciary or the justice system is not already empowered, and I don't know of anywhere it is really so-called, really absolutely so empowered. Then there is the need to first determine the source of its lack of power or weakness, free it from that, empower it in order to undertake the power. And I believe the courts have a role to play also too, by making sure that they perform their traditional functions effectively and earn and gain and earn the confidence of the public, the trust and confidence of the public. That would translate to more judicial power, which they can now translate into, which they can now carry on into the power, into the fight against corruption. Now, that can be done even by the fight against corruption itself. The society, the public, those who do not benefit from that abuse of power will certainly welcome a situation where the justice system is fighting corruption. But then it has to be powerful enough to even initiate that fight. Excuse me. I would suggest that the first task is to do the mundane, the normal. I've been muted. Am I off? Okay. Hello? Hello? Moderator?
We can hear you.
Okay. Do I go on? Because I was
Yes.
muted by the organizer. Okay, that's all right. So, as I was saying, it will now require the courts